What's going on YouTube? Fuzzy Wuzzy. Back for part 2, still playing with this thing. It's going along pretty good. Just about got it all back together. No surprises, everything swapped over and laid in place as it should. I even found a brand new oil filter in it, in the car, in the box, so that'll save me a couple bucks. But I got this thing here. I know what that valve does. It lets the water flow through the heater core. But what goes on there, it's I'm assuming vacuum operated. I don't know what goes on there. I can't find anything. So I got to go to the junkyard anyway to get a couple things. I might just have to look at one and see what's supposed to go there. I got all the coil packs in. I left these ones out just because they were like greasy as shit, you know. That one's a different color, so that one's probably been changed. I just wanted them all the same color, nice, dry. So I had 16 of them to pick from between the two motors. So I left those greasy guys out. And that's about it. I'm just plugging along, taking a break for a minute. What I got to get from the junkyard is a battery. It didn't come with a battery, so I'll go down and get a used battery. They're like 30 bucks. Chuck that in there. There's that trim piece on the door, which might be hard to find because this thing being a limited, it's got that dark wood trim. So hopefully I could find one. Found these water bottles too, like unopened. I don't know if I want to take the chance of drinking them or not. I don't know if I'm that brave. They're unopened. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it'll kill me. All right, so that's where I'm at. I'll check back with you in a little bit. Okay, YouTube, moment of truth. I didn't go to the junkyard yet. This is just a loaner battery out of some shit that just lays around. So, oil's changed, antifreeze is full, power steering fluid's full. Holding all the fluids, it's not dripping. And let's see what it does. I haven't hit the key yet. I just put the battery on. And these battery terminals look like absolute dog shit. So if it doesn't crank, I'm going to suspect these bastards. They look awful. Let's hit the key and see what it does. There might not be any juice in that battery. I don't know why that light's on. Foot on the brake, and nothing. Well, that was anticlimactic. Maybe it's a neutral safety switch or something. Nothing. What the fuck is all that noise in the dash? Shut up. God damn. Let me get some voltage on this battery and see what it says. Got 12. Got 12 volts. Should be a little higher than that. Let me put a charger on it for a little while, see if that does anything. I'll be back. Wish those fucking lights would turn off. I don't know what that's all about. Alright, YouTube. I charged the battery, cleaned up the terminals the best I could, and still nothing. So after doing some Googling, some reading on the neutral safety switch, they don't even call it that in this car. It's some bullshit inside the transmission. After checking what fuses to check and blah, 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 I checked all the fuses. Everything was cool. So then I'm like, well, shit. So I went underneath and I jumped the starter with a screwdriver and the engine spun. So that told me a lot. That told me there's nothing wrong with the starter. That told me there's nothing wrong with the big cable going to the starter, and the motor has a ground. So it's got to be the little wire on the starter that's not getting a signal to tell the starter to turn on. So I got the harness off of the donor engine, and it's cut up and shit. But here's the starter end. So I take a look at this little wire here, and color is that? It's like a dark gray or a black with a yellow stripe. Then I go over here to the car harness, and I find that wire right there. So let's see. I don't have a test light. I don't have much. So this is the engine side of the harness. This is the car side of the harness. And I got a signal up to that point. So there's nothing wrong with the car. Let's see if I can hit. Where the fuck is the key? God damn. There's nothing wrong with the key. I can make it do that. So that's good. That's really good. That means I didn't miss no plug and nothing's fucked up and the car's doing what it's supposed to do. So then I took this wire and I stick it in the pin. I'm not pushing hard to bend the pin or anything, just lightly. I stick it in the pin for the big wire. And when I touch it to the positive, that starter should crank. But it ain't doing shit. So I got a break in the wire, something's fucked up between here and the starter. That's only like 3 or 4 feet, which I can handle. The only connection I know of is this one down by the starter end. This is where the eyelet would be. So I'm going to cut it off right here. I'm going to check for power. And if it doesn't have power, I'm just going to run a new one, splice into it right about here somewhere, assuming this pin is good, and just run a new wire to the starter. And if I got power 2 here, I'm just going to cut it. I'm going to cut it here anyway. But I'll just put a little eyelet on a piece of wire, add a couple inches. There you go. Then we should be cranking. Cool? Cool. Okay, YouTube. I went to the other side of the connector, tested it again with my light, and I had power. I went down to the eyelet at the starter, cut it back past that connection I showed you. I still didn't have power. So between here and the starter, the wire's broke somewhere. So I just ran a new wire, spliced it in right there after the factory connector where I knew I had power, spliced it in, shrink wrapped it, ran it down to the starter, and here we go. I left the key on, so I had to put it back on the charger. See if it's got enough juice to crank. Ooh, barely. Open this door. I don't want to accidentally kill myself. Something doesn't sound happy up there. Uh-oh, see a little bit of coolant. Uh-oh. Anything down in the valley there? Nah, that looks dry. Alright, I gave it the little screwdriver test. You know, you listen on your ear. And that idler pulley's the one making all this fucking racket. And I swapped that over from the donor motor. I don't know, maybe I'll repeat this so that, I don't know if you can hear me with that fan on. I swapped that idler pulley over from the donor motor because the one that was on here was making a lot of fucking racket. And, well, I still got a noisy one, so I might actually have to go down and buy one. And underneath, I could see the intake manifold's leaking at the back a little bit. I'm gonna go around, snug them bolts up. All my gauges are saying okie dokie. I got oil pressure, battery's doing its thing. No idiot lights yet. I'm gonna turn it off, get to them coolant leaks. Then I'll let it warm up. It's running all right. This thing's been sitting since, I think the guy said April. So that gas that's in it is not the freshest, but it's running all right. Anyway, I got sidetracked. I'm gonna turn it off, get to them coolant leaks, and then I'll get some help in the morning, throw the hood on, take it for a cruise. Then it's on to the cosmetics, like that steering wheel and that trim. Okay, YouTube, we are off. It's definitely got a miss. Check engine light kicked on. Power steering sounds like shit. Gonna have to look into that. So, let me go home, check out some codes, and regroup. So far, the transmission's shifting fine. There's no bearing noises, like a fucked up wheel bearing or anything. Nothing. So, let me go home and do a little more work. Okay, YouTube, there she is, all done, cleaned up, looking good, cleaned up pretty good. The check engine light is off. Let's see what codes I had. Let me look them up here. I took pictures of them. It's fucking raining. Alright, the codes I had a P0174, 2 lean on bank 2, and I had a 1401. EGR sensor is fucked up. Well, when I seen that 2 lean, I put the smoke machine on it, and it didn't leak anywhere. So I just figured I'll chase the other code because it's probably related. So I changed out the differential pressure sensor for the EGR system. That was it. It's been about 50 miles. No check engine light, no more miss. It runs like a top. It's been pretty good. And I went to the junkyard and I forgot to look what that valve I showed you on the heater hose. I forgot to look where the fuck that thing goes. But I'm not too worried about it because the heat works. Everything seems to be working as it should. I haven't pumped down the AC yet and put Freon in it, but hopefully that's not a problem. I still got to do that. And this door panel, remember how the lights were getting stuck on? Well, I opened up the door panel and some asshole's been in here before because all that shit was unplugged. It's raining. Let me get inside the garage. All the shit was unplugged, and the switch for the doors to tell the dome lights to turn it on and off, it was broken off the door latch. So somebody's been in there and they fucked it up. So I had to put a door latch in it, so now the dome lights stay off. All good in the hood on that one. Dome lights work, that's all good. Which, a couple more pieces to the puzzle, which is why I think that piece of trim is missing off the door there. Because they're trying to get in there to fuck with that door latch, and they thought there were screws behind it, so they just ripped it off. And that piece of trim is not easy to get off. It's not supposed to come off. It attaches like them pieces there, like a plastic rivet, melted type shit. So when I went to the junkyard to get this new piece of trim, there was no way to attach it. And I tried JB Weld, I tried hot glue, I tried all that shit, and it just wasn't doing well. Hot glue wasn't sticky enough, and the JB Weld, it wasn't filling the gap. So what I did is I JB Welded these nuts to the back side of it, and I drilled holes in the panel, and I'm just gonna bolt it up that way. It's still tacky. I'm just gonna let it dry. I'll be able to bolt it up, and she'll be good. I'll be able to put this door panel back on, and she will be done. So that's the last time you're gonna see this one. I gotta do something about them tires. I still got the other tires off the Mountaineer. I'm gonna get them swapped over. I'll probably drive it around for a week, just honestly because I like driving it, and it's a pretty nice car. And we'll see if the check engine light doesn't kick on. If it doesn't, I'll kick it down the road. So thanks for watching, YouTube. That's another one in the books. On to the next one.